A bill that would prevent lawmakers and future presidents and vice presidents from trading stocks has advanced in the Senate, while President Trump criticized a key Republican supporting the measure. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who introduced the ban, was the only Republican to join Senate Democrats in voting to advance this bill, sending it out of committee and to a possible vote by the full Senate. After the vote, Trump called Hawley a, quote, second-tier senator on social media. Hawley later said he spoke with the president and they had a, quote, good chat. CBS News congressional reporter Taurean Small joins me now. Taurean, thanks for being here. What exactly would this bill do if it's passed?
Yeah, so Jolene, at the heart of this legislation is the essential barring of any elected federal official. That means lawmakers here on the Hill, as well as the vice president and president, from trading stocks. There's a provision in there, though, that appears to be the reason why the Missouri Republican senator and Josh Hawley is in the crosshairs of President Trump. And that provision states that those same officials, quote, would have to divest from securities, commodities, futures, options, trust, and other comparable holdings. According to Senator Hawley, he had a conversation with President Trump not too long after that post on Truth Social, and he had to clear up some misconceptions about this bill. He says that the president told him that he thought he would have to sell off Mar-a-Lago and other assets if this were to go forward. He told the president that that would not be the case because, if passed, this provision would kick in for elected officials next term, which means because Donald Trump would be term limited, he would not have a next term and would not be privy to this specific provision in this bill. However, other folks like J.D. Vance, the vice president, if he chooses to run, and of course other senators and congresspeople would be in line for this bill. The meat of this bill, though, again, that barring of stock trading, if passed, would kick in 90 days. That means everyone, including the president and vice president, would no longer have the ability to trade stocks while in office.
So we know how Senator Hawley feels about this, but all Republicans voted against this measure while in committee. What were the main arguments from Republicans against it?
Yeah, we heard from Republicans that this could potentially limit the enthusiasm or interest in folks running for office. They say that it's way too limiting and it's just not really necessary. Democrats, though, not all, I should say, because there are notable Democrats, especially in Democratic leadership, who have not signed on to any iteration of a stock trading bill. But quite a few progressives say that lawmakers, elected officials are privy to far too much information than the general public to be able to ethically trade stocks without having essentially insider information here. Ultimately, though, what's the likelihood that this will make it to the full floor for a vote in the Senate? It's not looking too likely, considering the fact that Leader Thune said that he does not see in any immediate future a chance for this bill to make it to the floor, even though it was voted out of that panel favorably.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Taurean Small on Capitol Hill tonight.